I'm Tiffany Bellfield, El-Amin, and we are here for the 23rd Annual Small Limited Resource Minority Farmers Conference with Kentucky State University, and I'm also co-hosted with Ashley Smith.
Good morning. I'm so glad to be here today with you at the conference, Tiffany. Thanks for having me.
Yes, awesome. Well, we're going to get right into it. Let me go to share screen, and we're going to go into our slides. So our session today is around equity, the equity efforts around Kentucky agriculture. And again, I say my name is Tiffany Bellfield El-Amin. I am one part of the Farm to Table committee for Community Farm Alliance. And this is what we've been doing for the past couple of years. So back in 2019, Community Farm Alliance took a stand on equity. We called it the commitment to equity. And it was something that we did as people, as an organization, as staff, as board members, just as people in Kentucky. We seen that there was a need to have more conversations around equity. So in 2019, the pandemic rolled around and we were urged to have a fund just for our Black farmers in Kentucky, and it was called the Kentucky Black Farmer Fund. So in 2020, we rolled out the first round of that. It ended up with 2 rounds, and we served 52 farmers in 26 counties. And the way this originated was, you know, there was floods of funding and floods of people wanting to give money back to agriculture and to eat healthier and everything like that in a time of sickness. And in my mind, if we're 1% Black farmers are in Kentucky. So if there's 100 applicants, maybe one of us is Black. And if that, will we get approved? If it's competitive, will we get things in fast enough? And I just, I told the Community Farm Alliance, I was like, as a farm to table coordinator, I see the gaps, and this would help if Black farmers just had their own fund. This rolled into the whirlwind of equity work. We were already committed to it, but the Black Farmer Fund and the applications and, Lori and I calling farmers, asking questions about their farm, asking questions about their families. Are they okay? We realized that there was another need. So it rolled into a farmer's needs assessment, working with Kentucky Center of Agricultural Rural Development, KCARD. We were working on a farmer's profile, and it was simply to figure out where everybody else is in Kentucky, map out resources, map out who is in what region doing what, so we can connect everyone. But after doing the Black Farmer Fund, I realized that there's another holistic approach that we need to come at when we're assessing our Black farmers in Kentucky, the history of Black farming in Kentucky, some of the barriers that are still present, like, do we get an opportunity to actually talk about these things? So we combined the Black Farmers Profile, and I put together some questions for the Black Farmers Needs Assessment, and the Farm to Table team, we then spread this to all our Black farmers, spread this to all farmers, and the Black Farmers Needs Assessment brought back so much information. It was only like 30 people that did the assessment, which was, at first we were kind of concerned, but those people definitely let us know how they felt. They let us know who they worked with, who they connected with. And I think out of the whole assessment, we were able to pull out the interests. And for me, the interests were big deals, because that means that you need more information or you are uneducated about this. So Black Farmers Needs Assessment rolled into a Black Farmers Meetup where we talked about these interests, these strengths, and we'll talk more about the Black Farmers Meetup. For the Black Farmers Needs Assessment, we pulled out more Black farmers wanted to know more about Kentucky Proud and Appalachia Proud branding to build their markets. And part of the work with equity is building the network. And I'll say that 1,000 times, networks and relationship building. But I knew as a farm to table coordinator and as a food justice organizer, I knew who to connect a farmer in KDA, Kentucky Department of Agriculture, that does Kentucky Proud branding. Another interest was funding and resources. And it's not that we all need money, right? But we have limited resources, and we want to know how to capitalize those? How can we make this sustain the agribusiness that I'm beginning? And a lot of that is just organizing, business planning, getting your receipts and your records in order. And sometimes you don't even know what that means. And I always use me as an example. Young farmer, beginning farmer. Farming has been in my life since I was born. And when I got to the point where I was the owner of the farm, there was a lot of things that I did not know. And a big issue with the equitable lens in Kentucky, in agriculture, statewide, is that if you don't ask, you don't know. So some people don't know where to go. And I'm telling you, the best place to start is KCARD. You also have the Farm Service Agency, who is rolling out grants that follow the American Rescue Plan and the pandemic relief. And they have other resources and workshops as well in helping you find loans and be prepared for loans and be prepared for federal grants. Same thing with the NRCS, National Resource and Conservation Service. I didn't realize how many resources were in the NRCS office outside of EQIP. According to the needs assessment, at least 90% of our farmers get EQIP grants, but there's so many steps after you get it, and there's more walkthrough that needs to be happening. And so rolling into the Horticulture Council is another funding resource. They are really big about water and safety grants, and they can help put better systems onto your farm and actually walk you through it and help you get funded for those. So all of those funding and resources, even the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, that's part of Community Farm Alliance's network and what we offer to help bridge those communications with our Black farmers exclusively. And then another interest was networking and directory. We want to know where we're at, what counties we are in, what regions are we in, who's doing what. A lot of Black farmers, we talked about bartering, mentoring, peer-to-peer, and so working with Black Soil or Better Nature, who has already built their networks and they know they're mapping Kentucky with their Black farmers, and CFA has our own. We're wanting to blend those networks so we can put out a one-stop shop of resources in the who's in the Black farming community. And this is all that came from the Black Farmers Needs Assessment and rolled into the Black Farmers Meetup. So we had the Black Farmers Meetup in 2021. So 2019 Commitment to Equity, 2020 Black Farmer Fund, and then 2021 we met all up at the Black Farmers Meetup. Virtual was great, but in those needs assessment, people were saying, I need to see my people. We need to sit down and have conversations. We need to brainstorm on what's going to happen post-pandemic, right? So this was the beautiful pictures. We had a great time. This was in Lexington, Kentucky, at the Gray Line Station Clear Story, where Black Soil and Community Farm Alliance coordinated this gathering. And we ate, we fellowship, we networked, we shared ideas, we made new friends and family, and we walked away knowing that this was just the beginning. So current efforts. So what's going on in 2022? And the end of 2021. So building the Black Farmer Resource Directory and Navigation Tool, simply a toolkit. So when you are a beginning farmer, you can go somewhere and you know where to go, how to get started, who to talk to, and you're not just fishing in the dark for it. In our needs assessment, we asked very clearly, who do you work with? And we list state offices, we listed state universities, we listed organizations that we're connected with. And literally Black farmers were like, we work with K-State, we work with UK, we work with Black Soil, we work with Community Farm Alliance. And those were the top four. And a sprinkle of other places. But these other places like Hort Council and KCARD, you need them, but knowing how to navigate through all these organizations has been the key of conversation. We're also working with, like I said earlier, the Farm Service Agency. We're working to make sure that Black farmers are intentionally invited and considered when funding is rolling out. I talked to a lot of you all when PPP was rolling around and when the CFAP, which is the coronavirus rescue funds, came through. And I literally was just saying, don't forget, deadlines coming up. Did you get this paperwork? Do you need help with this? If somebody told you no at the office, I'm calling the office and figuring out what that no means. That's the piece that I'm playing in this equity work at Community Farm Alliance, making sure that everybody's voice is being heard and nobody is not being unspoken. I want to make sure that everybody's communicating and building these relationships. So we'll be reaching out to people to make sure that they did get their CFAP amounts and that everything is flowing well with the Farm Service Agency's relationships. I've been calling everybody to make sure that they're okay with their PPP loan forgivenesses, and currently pushing the PRS grant, which is this beautiful one-pager on the screen. It's the Pandemic Response and Safety Grant. Literally anything that you've had to do with your farm between 2020 and 2021, I think 2019 as well. No, 2020, 2021. Anything that you've had to do to make your farm business, your agribusiness, your farmers markets, or any of your markets more safe. And that could be from warmers, heaters, more tents. If you had to get an extra route to pick up workers so there's less people in a truck, anything like that, you're eligible. But another big piece to being able to be the one that says this is what you need to get this grant, free money. You don't have to report on it. You don't have to be forgiven for it, but you're also building your business. You're learning what an NAICS code is if you don't know. If you don't have your DUNS number, you need that. And you need both of these to be able to apply for most federal and state grants. And even if you didn't, it's just something to always have as you're building up your folder for your business. Again, one pager, check that out. That's going on right now. Deadline's the 22nd. And if you guys have any questions walking through it, please give us a call and reach out. But the third part of the current efforts, which is an ongoing effort, is that Community Farm Alliance is about policy change. Our pathway to change and our commitment to change, we understand it starts with our laws and it starts with our bills. And so a lot of conversations about policy and Black farmers is that there is a miseducation and a gap in education. So I want to be able to have more conversations about what we do with our voice when it comes to policy organizing. And if it example, was able to talk to farmers and get comments about equity in the USDA offices. And we took those documents, made an official letter, sent it to DC and Frankfurt. And part of us pushing those policies is the rollout of some of the pandemic relief funds, of some of the technical assistance with the USDA offices in Kentucky. So small steps, but we can do this together, right? So in the end, building relationships, strengthening your networks, working with Black soil. We'll be doing these 3 beautiful events coming in 2022. We are coordinating a Black Women in Agriculture Planning brunch where we're just going to get everyone, all the women together and talk about the past, the present, and the future, having them be at the forefront of coordinating the second Kentucky Black Farmers Meetup. And then we have the Eastern Kentucky Farmers Conference in February of 2022. It's a great time. We will literally be in Southeast Kentucky. Black Soil and Community Farm Alliance will have a session where we will have conversations leading into the Black Farmers Meetup in March. All of our partners will be in the room, people that we've been talking about and to, all in the same space and getting some things addressed. And it'll be an amazing time. Eastern Kentucky Farmers Conference is a weekend event. Our session is one day, but the whole weekend is just a plethora of good food, good people, networking, conversations, and picking up resources and information. So, and then March 4th through 6th, first weekend in March, we're looking forward for the second Kentucky Black Farmers Meetup. We had 50 people. I would love to have 100 this time. And we're going to be doing more strategic planning around the things that are coming down the pipeline at a policy level and on a resource and funding level. So I'm going to roll it on over to my co-host, Ashley Smith, right now. I'm going to take me off of share screen and let her introduce herself.
Well, thank you again. And Tiffany, if you would just allow me the chance to share screen.
I got you right now. There you go.
Hold on, will you pause it? Thank you, Tiffany, for having me co-panel this session with you today. And I really want to emphasize the importance of reflecting diversity, equity, and inclusion as we move forward to a shared future, a bright shared future through the ag sector and industry here in the state of Kentucky. You see here on our cover slide, Chef Anitra Polk in our seed to shelf garden that we started and planted for her in the summer of 2020. You can now find Chef Anitra at the University of Kentucky in the 90 student dining hall, where she uses Kentucky farm product in her vegan plant-based entrees. That example of Chef Anitra Polk and Woke Junk Food Vegan represent just a sliver of the mission and vision of Black Soil, which reaches into reconnecting Black Kentuckians to their heritage and legacy in agriculture. And by creating a more robust awareness and conversation, collaborations and partnerships like with Community Farm Alliance, it really allows us to bring more farmers, growers, and producers onto the field, literally and figuratively. Because we do see a bright future, as we shared in our opener, where Kentuckians across the Commonwealth can enjoy local food all year long. Because regardless of who you are, where you live, you have to eat. So who is Black Soil? We are a co-founded organization. I, as the COO and co-founder, own the organization. And together we have developed an agritourism business that from 2017 to 2020 focused on farm tours, farm to table dinners, in-person children enrichment workshops, urban gardening workshops. And then you see on the right there, our second generation, our 2.5-year-old pudgies, Caroline and Trevor Jr., our twins. And so as we look to institutions, organizations, agencies like you might represent here for this year's conference, we just want to explain to you how we've really worked in mapping out a path for the 1.4% of Kentucky Black farmers, growers, and producers specifically. And then we've also been able to engage with farmers across the state from East, Central, and West Kentucky, regardless of race and ethnicity. So we started with agritourism, starting on Black-owned farms and farm tours. And with the pandemic, we were really forced to engage different levels and types of businesses. And so through those collaborations and partnerships, we were able to bring Kentucky farm product sourced, grown, and produced by Black farm families here in the state to our distribution and fulfillment center located in Lexington, where those products are then taken to a farmer's market. They're then developed as weekly farm shares for our CSA program, a la carte. So if you just wanted to come and buy tomatoes or acorn squash and prepared meals. So we work with restaurants, local farm to table restaurants like Alfalfa to help feed the community through Nourish Lexington. In all of this, we emphasize the forward motion of creating more equitable access and opportunities to markets like households, individual shareholders, local restaurants like Alfalfa, Wrigley Taproom, Foco at Logan Street Market, and the list can go on with the locations that source our Kentucky farm product. Institutions. So working with institutions like the University of Kentucky to have piloted a voucher program for 59 faculty, staff, and employees this season helps us advance. So as we as a diverse minority business enterprise are able to gain greater access to markets, shareholders, healthy households, you see a forward trend of more farms, again, regardless of race, being able to level up and access even more opportunities to source and market their small business. And lastly, care providers. So working with vulnerable communities, newborns, babies, young families, and helping nurture them by providing shares in education, outreach, maternal health clinics. Working with caregivers of aging parents or family members, ensuring both sides are receiving healthy meal options. And so again, as we think about moving forward equity, first and foremost, producers need to know they have a steady guaranteed market, especially if you represent less than 2% of overall farmers. So out of 77,000 plus Kentucky farm primary operators, less than 430 of those are African-American owned farms here in the state. So we've really focused on helping these growers, farmers, producers, culinary artists, craftspeople to focus on what they do best. Either that's growing, preparing, or making the best products and produce here in the state of Kentucky. And in raising the awareness of the declining numbers of Black farmers, not only here in the state of Kentucky, but across the nation, we also look to reconnect communities that are oftentimes labeled in grants as socially disadvantaged, hard to reach, underrepresented, but oftentimes we prefer to focus on historically excluded as the term that we like to focus our marketing and promotion efforts around individuals and families. And then we become and have become more sophisticated as the efforts of making sure we're becoming more equitable in our local ag food system industry and sector. Is working with institutions through wholesale. So working in scaling up and building capacity for small Kentucky family-owned farms through GAP certification, trainings through PSA certifications, ensuring that we're staying on the up and up to receive the opportunities and sharpen our competitive edge. So looking to not only lift up and raise awareness of the producers that people can directly buy and build relationships with, but we want to help the awareness of on the consumer side, if they can truly make an economic impact and difference in local businesses, thus providing the opportunity to advance equity. So not only do we need it socially, we need that financial investment to help scale these operations up and build capacity. Because we want to examine as we look to advance and move the needle forward with equity. If Mother Nature can't see who puts the seed in the ground, then why are there such enormous disparities in agriculture? And you see Travis Cleaver of Cleve's Family Market pictured here in the background as we move forward in really stating that diversity is needed, not only socially, but we need more producers with I guess, propensity for a variety of methods, techniques of how they will operate their grow operations or farms. So our ag industry is looking and kind of screaming out for a diversified approach, an innovative approach of utilizing and tending to land and being able to feed communities in efforts to reduce food insecurity and increase food access. And we're proud to share collaborations and partnerships, relationships with industry leaders who are also committed to moving and advancing equity. And they're putting their money where their mouth is. For example, with Farm Credit, they've allowed Black Soil to serve as a grant maker for 9 Black-owned farms here in the state of Kentucky in securing a Grow Appalachia Gothic semi-permanent high tunnel, which then will allow them to extend out their growing season, which then allows them to continue cultivating markets, relationships, consumers, and the practice continues over and over and over again. We're glad to be Kentucky proud and work with several other industry partners listed here. So as we advance equity, it's about raising the awareness of how even the smallest investment in a local farm can truly help stabilize rural and urban communities. And so we're really excited to have worked tirelessly to create a lot of these familiarities and relationships where a lot of our Kentucky Black-owned farms are becoming household names. We started in the classroom at the University of Kentucky as we have advanced and worked to advance equity. And it's looked to now, again, as we stated earlier, piloting the CSA voucher program, being able to our UK dining services through our culinary artists, brand management, as well as produce sourcing. And so as we kind of cap our time today, we want to leave you with the hard facts of numbers, because oftentimes when we overview equity, it hits a lot of touchy subjects. And so to come to the table with black and white facts of really looking at the racialized wealth divide and gaps here in the United States that hold us back, here locally that hold us back, where Black median household wealth is projected to reach a path of zero by 2053, where it takes one Black American household 228 years to equate the wealth of one white family, compared to their Latino counterparts, and where it would take them 84 years to equate the wealth of one white family. So we examined these solutions around not only sourcing produce, it's so much more than that. It's a challenge to institutions, groups, and organizations to really put their money where their mouth is, because the Michigan Minority Procurement Conference released results of a study on economic equity for people of color. And the staggering results showed that it will take 333 years for minority business enterprises to achieve the revenue equity with white-owned businesses in our nation. And this is highly reflected within our local food system, ag, industry, and sector. And so as you see the second number there, 15, based on their study, they're stating if institutions, organizations, and groups commit to a baseline percentage and increase that percentage by 1% every year for 15 years, that 333-year gap is reduced to 15. So our advocacy, community engagement, and sustainability focuses on forwarding equity as the means of utilizing agriculture as a change agent, as a great equalizer, as a way to solve many problems across a variety of communities. So Tiffany, I'm really appreciative for the chance to be on the call with you today, presenting at the conference, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. This concludes our session. I just want to say that the biggest part of our session when we wanted to do it in person was to have a backwards and forwards conversation about the things that we discuss. And of course, doing this virtually, we want to urge you all to get our contact information. We're Googleable. Everybody has our information. If there's a story you want to tell, if there's something that you want more information on, please reach out to us. Tiffany at cfaky.org is the email. My cell phone number, 859-684-9138. That's how intentional I am. Blow my cell phone up. And I just really hope you all enjoy the rest of the conference and have a good rest of the week. Thank you.